so the first thing I noticed is like your damaged orb you like do straight at their spawn. I'm gonna see where this goes because a lot of times it goes like bounces off like where it's not. Yeah, see, it just kind of bounces off this way. I mean, the fact that you're still hitting people is kind of a little surprising with it. Um, what I kind of recommend is like bouncing it off the wall, like for example, like shooting like here or like here. It's gonna bounce between this area. You're gonna get the most value out of that damage orb. You'll get up like probably like 10% I think ult charge with that one orb. Rather than like here, it's gonna bounce off, go this way. It's gonna go this way, and it's not even gonna finish. It's just gonna bounce off. Let me get back to you. My left button doesn't work with this, so you'll have to bear with me with that. Okay, so there your D.Va's full health almost. She has a little bit of health missing. If you just like tap your healing spray, just barely tap it. It helps like cause see it's almost to halfway now. It really helps like keep your healing juice really intact there. Um, or not intact, but like with like a decent amount with it. If you just barely tap it. Also, I'm about to send you the link, so that's the reason I'm pausing here. Again, your healing orb is kind of just like bouncing off, or like your orbs are just kind of like bouncing off going this way, and it's just gonna go again. Like, you're not gonna get like full value out of it. It's just gonna bounce up there and it's gone. Whereas like if you could bounce it like in between walls, really I always like recommend you always want to bounce it where it's gonna come back to you, especially your healing orbs. Um, Cause see, you're still like half health. You didn't really even get fully healed out of it, and um, now your healing orb's just kind of gone. Sorry again. Like I said, my left button doesn't work, so I kind of have to just like go. Why is it third person? Hold on, I'm trying to fix it real quick. Why does it do that?
Oh, she's so cute.
Shh. There we go. That is not there. You probably didn't need to use a healing orb there, or if you did, again, you kind of could have bounced it. Because the thing about your biotic grass is it also heals you as well, so you could have like sucked the hammer and that was still like trying to like shoot at you. It might have scared him away. You could have chucked a damage orb. I know everybody's like, don't be a DPS Moira. It's okay to DPS every now and then, but I mean, you really just didn't get much value out of that orb. Um, and so you're just kind of like you're just kind of throwing them when they're not needed. Or like right now, your Hamon's on the high ground and you can't reach him, and you could have thrown the he's like almost half health, and you could have thrown a healing up orb up to him to help him out. You know. Okay, so when I path, like when I go back, I'm moving back, giving him space. I always want to go like the direction the payload's going, so I want to back up around the corner, back up this way. Whereas like you're backing like into this like your team's like backed up this way, and you're still kind of like in front of your team, just out in the open. Um, if they had like a sniper, you'd be really easy to pick. I mean, even then, I mean, you have to move to get behind your team at this point. They don't really have. Oh, they do have a widow. I mean, yeah, you're just kind of there. Um, you just kind of have to be aware of those things. Sorry, I'm like more looking at your gameplay and not what the other team's running. Yeah. You kind of were like more ahead of your tanks here. What you could have done is you could have faded back. I feel like you kind of faded in the same area, faded back, and then threw an orb and then cold. It's a little late for that now, though. I would pull now. Your team's like right in the middle of them. That's a good away from the shatter. Yeah, he was nanoed. I wouldn't have even. I would have just faded away from him. I wouldn't have tried to go with him. I don't know. Your comp's just kind of a little bit weird. And Moira's kind of hard to run with a dive comp, which I know is not exactly dive, but you have dive tanks, and so it's just kind of. And they have a Widow too. If you're gonna damage, I'd recommend like damaging squishies. You kind of throw your orbs like, I've noticed, like down, like at the ground, and they're gonna bounce up. You don't really want to throw them at the ground. I'm pretty sure you just joined watching. By the way, I've like noticed some of your like orbs. I'm gonna go ahead and just explain it real quick. Like you kind of throw them and you just throw them straight, and then they go off into nothing, and you don't get like max value out of them. Whereas like if you bounce them off of things, so like let's say you're standing here, and you normally would not be standing here. Just like for example, like and you needed an orb to heal yourself, you could bounce it off this wall, and then it would just be bounced back and forth in between. It would heal. I mean, and actually, Dorado is really good for that because there's like these chokes down here. There's these walls they can bounce off in between. Even like damage orbs, if you're throwing them at the team, you want to bounce them off the walls. It's gonna go in between their teams, unless you're just trying to pick off like a squishy target. Like let's say you were there, and you see this Ana's low, and you can just throw the damage orb at her. I need help. You're kind of just like wasting your juice there. So you're kind of throwing it again up towards the ground. You kind of... you could have faded like over to the left and like past the choke, and you wouldn't have died there. Your team was probably gonna lose this well, maybe not. Only one person had died. You could probably help keep your team alive.
I'm not dead yet. The payload has reached the checkpoint.
My favorite thing is to throw like damage orbs at widows, just kind of like to throw them at, like they have to move. So instead of throwing it at like the Brig and the Ana, I would have maybe thrown it to where the widow was. And again, you're just kind of throwing your orb straight. I feel like I'm kind of repeating myself here, so I'm gonna stop saying about your orb placement. What you could have done here is you could have thrown that orb, and you could have actually used coal. I would get the torp turret. You're healing. Yeah, your healing doesn't quite reach that far, but you were kind of healing nothing there. You were just healing their torp turret. Okay, so the thing with coal is like you get it really, really fast. You'd be surprised like how fast you get coal. Like you didn't use it that fight, but you like. To be honest, almost like as soon as I get coal, I like pop it. Like I don't hold on to it for a while. I don't know how long you've had it, but we'll see if we use it the next fight.
Enemy turret located. Must all make sacrifices. lies in the name of silence. My will made real.
You could have thrown it at their Widow, up on the high ground to kind of displace her. She's like really low too. It would have been good, and it would have helped your Widow get more sight lines and get to a better position. Um, I don't know if you're gonna turn a healer, but I could hear like even without like looking to see on there that my Widow's low. Not without even looking with her, I heard she like on my right side she got hit. Like they normally like your team kind of like makes a noise. And I would have turned to healer. I don't know if you're gonna do that here, but yeah, you're just kind of ignoring her. You probably could have thrown a healing ward there instead of like wasting your healing juices on her. Because you needed one for yourself as well. Because now you're out and the fight just started. You could probably Cole here. Your Ryan's like in the middle of them. Your whole team's kind of like right here. Like, let's go to like an outside view. Like, your Ryan's really low. Your Diva. Your Echo. And I don't know where your Lucio's at. He's and Widow. Your Widow and Lucio are kind of like in a weird spot. Your like Widow should be up there. But like half your team's crit and you're just kind of like DPSing a Hammond that you're probably not gonna kill because he's got a lot of health. I try to normally like DPS the squishies. Like if you were gonna DPS here, maybe DPS this Torb. You know, he's kind of by himself. But I mean, really, right now your team just kind of needs healing. I don't know if you're out of healing. I remember I would have just called there, to be honest. Like it would have been a good spot. Like your team could have gotten damage, you could have gotten damage, you would be healing your team. Your team's kind of like far up. With the thing with turrets, you need to get them first. Oh, your Lucio beated. Didn't need that. Oh, yikes. Yeah, your whole team was dead at that point. So maybe, I would have maybe saved it if I had it. Okay. I guess there's a fine line in between, like, saving it and then using it. Like, you know, your team's dead. Normally, when you use Cole, you want to make sure there's someone to heal and there's someone to do damage to. Because, you know, if there's no one to heal, then, you know, you're only doing damage. And that damage and your ult actually does the same amount of damage you do normally. So, like, if you are sucking or using your orb, it does the same amount of damage as your ult does. Same thing with your healing. Your healing does the same amount of damage as it does, or not damage, same amount of healing as you would normally healing. So that's the reason why I normally do it when my team's like engaging. Like, let's say their Ryan's like swinging on my Ryan, then I pop it because my Ryan's getting the healing, he's getting the extra damage on their Ryan, you know, and that's where you kind of get value out of your ult. Where's this thing at? Where's what, baby? Put my fan back how it was. Sorry, my little brother's in here. Because now, like, your Ryan could probably really use it. He's, like, in them. But now you don't have it. Your orb just kind of went. I don't think it even, like, killed anybody there. I mean, that orb was kind of a little bit better because at least, like, went through their whole team. Like, there when you faded also, instead of fading back, you could have, like, faded. Because you see, the thing is, like, with your fade, you can go sideways. So you could have faded, like, back here. So, like, faded around, and you maybe would have been a little bit safer from that rind. You wouldn't be just, like, out there in the open. Also, they still have that Widow, so you have to keep that in mind. I know Widows probably, like, aren't that great here, but... So basically, that's it. I don't. I hope that kind of helps some, but yeah.